CloudDB, shaping your new normal.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this session. Today, I'm going to be talking about the new UI, which is digital assistants, and how digital assistants can help us to create new functions, to create new features, not just for Fusion applications or ERPs, for anything pretty much. And let me start thanking the Asia Pacific Oracle user community and Francisco Munoz, who has been a great leader across user groups worldwide. Thank you, Francisco, for taking the time and the leadership for putting together this tour in Asia Pacific, as well as all the leaders of all the user groups that are making this possible. My name is Gustavo Gonzalez, and I'm from Argentina, and been also working with user groups for quite a while now, founder of the Argentina Oracle User Group. I'm past president of Latin America Oracle User Community, as well as currently in the board, sitting on the board of directors of the Oracle Applications and Technology User Group, which is one of the biggest user groups in North America. Now, I'm a special, I'm Oracle ACE director with my specialty in applications. And you're going to see that with all the transformation and all the disruption that is happening with systems, today, digital assistants are making a big shift on how we see enterprise software. I'm head of IT at IT Conversion since 2006. And with more than 20 years of experience in Oracle development and Oracle tools and Oracle applications, I want to share with you what I see from the growth of digital assistants. What are the key concepts of digital assistants? Now, I've been working since 2006 at IT Conversions, which is a company that has operations globally, which has served more than 600 customers around the globe, with a headquarters in Dallas, Texas, and based out of Argentina. We have a big office here in Argentina, another big office also in India, outside the US, which our headquarters and the main offices are. We have operations in LATAM, in Asia Pacific, and we serve customers on consulting, implementations, upgrades of business suite, Fusion applications, but we also deliver managed services, hosting, development services, and also we have a special area of analytics and testing and testing automation, which is kind of critical for all the upgrades and all the agility that the organizations have to do today. Now, I'm wearing two hats because I'm running internal applications, but also helping customers, which means that most of the products that we implement, such as digital assistants, we implement that internally. So we take that taste of, okay, what it looks like, what it is to implement a tool that later on we suggest to customers or recommend to customers. Now, let's start talking about what is chatbots, okay, or what is chatbot and what's the difference with digital assistants, okay? Now, Gartner is saying that chatbots will be replacing mobile apps. I have on my phone, I have probably around 200 applications. Most of us have many applications, but 80% of the time we're using a messenger app, whether it's Baidu, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp. We're using a messenger application, and that is because This is what makes us have a connection with others, with businesses, with the family, with friends. And why not connecting that to the enterprise? And how users are asking for information in a corporate world today. It's like through a report or through navigating screens. But what is changing on that? And that's quoting Steve Miranda. And when talking about, just think about how we were driving in the past with directions on a Yahoo Maps, and now we're just following orders from someone that is saying turn right, in 200 meters, turn left, right? Your destination is on the right. So we're just following instructions, right? Now, have you ever think of following instructions of a robot? No. Well, this is the future, and common questions or transaction are going to be done through digital assistants. The adoption of digital assistant is digital assistants will become the new user interface. It's not more on HTML. It's not more on a mobile app. And quoting Gartner says that by 2022, which is next year, all workers will be interacting with conversational platforms on a daily basis. Okay. Now, I mentioned chatbots. I mentioned digital assistants. So what is a digital assistant? It is an artificial intelligence driven interface allowing us to complete or accomplish tasks in natural language conversation. Now, why we see this evolution of this is because the technology has evolved so quickly and so fast that now it's easier to have these conversations in natural language, okay? Now, a digital assistant, and one of the key aspects of a digital assistant is that it consists in one or many skills. Now, when talking about chatbots and when we see the difference between chatbots and digital assistants, chatbots are helping us to solve simple business problems, customer service, something that it's a service. So very oriented towards one operation, while digital assistants are user oriented. They can have and they can handle one or many unrelated tasks, which is what we call skills. So the conversations are context aware. So depending on what I express, it's what the feedback that you're going to do and how the digital assistant is going to react, right? And another important aspect, which is based out of the technology and the evolution of technology, is that these assistants can learn about the user. Not just pulling data from the user, but they can learn multiple aspects of the user, which makes things easier for later on for suggesting and for taking actions. What we see is the evolution and the sophistication and capabilities, of course, from a chatbot that was single purpose, reactive, simple sentences, to a digital assistant that has multi-purpose, more complex sentences. It can resolve more complex sentences. What are the features of Oracle Digital Assistants? And I'm drilling down specifically to Oracle Digital Assistants. It can be bot initiated, and they can also do this live agent handoff, which means, okay, I will connect with my user. I will go through this interaction. But once I reach out to a point that, well, you need to be someone, a human intervention here, I can do this agent handoff and being able to move that from a system, a natural language processing, an assistant, moving into a human interaction. Also, another thing is it can have multiple apps, which means that it can be, and you probably experienced that, you can be a digital assistant through multiple channels, which means, well, I can be chatting on WhatsApp, but also on an app or in Facebook Messenger, but the code is going to be the same. And also, another cool feature that we have is the no-code development. So you are able to do a visual development. There is a question and answer builder, which is a CSV file that you upload. And of course, insights, having analytics on top of your digital assistants, being able to see how your users are using the tool, how many attempts are happening, how many fail attempts are happening. And on that, how many channels, how they're using, which channels they're using. So what are the components? So I mentioned we have the skills, which is the individual chatbot, which can be reusable on multiple areas. And it works with any messenger, right? We have a digital assistant, which is the master bot, right? Invokes skills. I can go into multiple directions. I will learn from the user, and I will do this ambiguation, okay? Then we have the channels, which means connecting to any messenger, having a webhook and native channels. And then another addition a few years back, it's a bot store. Kind of like the App Store, but allowing you to have pre-built bots that you can download and apply into your own digital assistants and even tailor them, okay? Now, if we drill down into a digital assistant, these are all the components that are going to be inside an Oracle Digital Assistant skill, okay, which is the minimum level. Now, there's a few concepts that I want to share with you. The first concept is the utterance, and the utterance is whatever the user is saying, right? So, for example, I want to book a flight to Delhi, right? So that's a sentence, and that is what the digital assistant will try to understand, okay? That's a natural language processing, and I want the digital assistant is gonna parse these utterance, and it's gonna identify two things out of that. One is the intent, which is the user intention, what I'm trying to do, the intent, which in this case, well, the intent is such show flights, right? I want to see flights. And there's also an entity. And an entity, it's what modifies the intent, right? So show flights, right? It's the intent. Now, the entities are going to be such as flight booking, right? Entities are sometimes called as slots. Few examples of that, it's a hello goose, right? The intent is a greeting, and the entity is a name. Now, talking about, I want to book a flight to Delhi, the intent is flight booking, and the entity is Delhi, okay? Now, behind all these, there is NLP, NLU, and NLC, which means natural language processing, which is machine's ability to get what your users just said, and from that comprehends the meaning and take the appropriate action. Now, natural language understanding is a subset of NLP, okay, which deals with more structure and things such as talking about negative, right? I want to find coffee stores that are not Starbucks, right? So that's a little bit more complex sentence that I want to do. And you can see, and you can try that at Oracle Digital Assistant that will allow you to, will give you answers on that. Now, the other aspect is channels, right? Which is a platform specific configuration, which allows you to have multiple channels configured. So in this case, you can run the same digital assistant, the same skill in multiple channels, such as Twilio, Facebook, Amazon, Google, you name it, right? All these different channels are available there. Now, what you see there on these color hexagons is pre-built skills that are available on the bot store, pulling from information that it's available on Fusion applications, right? So, for example, if I want to say, a timesheet, right? There's a skill for a timesheet, which means that I can write to a digital assistant and say to a digital assistant, hey, digital assistant, I want to enter time, a time card. And the digital assistant is going to be asking me questions on which week, which day, how many hours, how many minutes, and it will create automatically a time card out of that. It could be either on a SaaS UI, which means inside Fusion applications, for example, or it could be on any of the channels that I mentioned. But what else a digital assistant can do? And we have been doing at IT Conversions for our customers, we have been doing things such as checking the absence approval, or any business suite, even requesting an output. Say, hey, how many users are on the system right now? And the digital assistant or the skills automatically go run a concurrent request and send an email to the user that is requesting for that. Password resets. So there's so many things that you can do and build on top of the digital assistant that is why we consider as the new UI. Now, when talking about Fusion applications, and I mentioned pre-built skills, well, these are some of the skills, HCM, for projects, for expenses. But if we drill down for HCM, look at all these skills that are available, like search for job, do a promotion, view vacation balance, create an absence request, subscribe to a job alert. So many skills that are already available for you to plug in and upload, download pull from the store and have it on your own digital assistant. Now on this, you're gonna see that in order to pull that, you need to go to Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. You need to create your own platform, your own digital assistant platform. And there's a digital assistant platform for SaaS, but you create your own digital assistant platform with skills, third-party integration, even voice, right? And there are some skills with this skill extensibility tool that you can pull from SaaS. Now, let's talk about a demo, right? And one of the things that is happening today, I'm a developer, I'm a system engineer by nature. And one of the things that, the main difference that I see today is how we were building systems or screens and the difference with the conversational experience, okay? The bot or the digital assistance or the skill should be clever enough to route your question to the appropriate system and get you the answer in the context of that app, which means what's my quota means that, well, you will be routing to customer experience and get your sales quota. My next appointment is going to be on customer experience, saying, okay, what's your next thing, next activity. Now, if I say vacation balance, well, the digital assistant will take you to the skill of HCM. And if I want to file an expense report, it's going to route me to the expense module, right? So again, it needs to be the way that you work and the way that you build digital assistants is different than how you build stuff on screen and UI. Think about this, right? On any application, any EBS, your own custom application, you have all these skills, okay? It could be based on location services. I'm on, let's say that you want to say, I need a part, right? You're talking about inventory and you need a part. The system can automatically take the location and it will identify that you are on a plant in Europe. And it's going to try to find the system, what is the inventory closer to you to get that part. We're talking about, again, this is, we're talking about voice, being able to talk to, a Google, Apple, or Amazon. Any of today, enterprise messengers such as Teams, Slack, or even, SMS, right? The old SMS. You can have your digital assistants running on SMS as well. So all the channels with skills, with the right skills for any application. And how that works? Well, it works on the channel configurator. You will set up what is the channel configurator, a dialogue flow execution, which I mean, I mentioned to you that you can even do a visual. You can build your digital assistant visually. Then the conversational AI engine, which is machine learning, cognitive services, and context management. And then all the connectivity to the backend system, whether it's Fusion applications or your own custom system. All those are the components that will make you the digital assistants work. Now, you can even, and here you have a few examples, but the digital assistants will route the request to the right skill bot, right? And based on that, you can have, modular functions, okay? Enabling you to have an incremental development, which means, well, I don't have to build a generalistic bot or a generalistic digital assistant. I can build based on functionality. And I can definitely say, well, I don't know what you're talking about on this, right? I cannot serve this question. And we'll talk about how to approach that, okay? Now, the right conversation for the user, you're gonna see that when talking about transactions, we're talking about, and this is the different format, different way of interacting with the users, right? Whether it's based out of transactions or frequently asked questions or handing it to a live agent, okay? Or complex policies, right? Such as, age, gender, for a candidate to apply for a position, or even bot alerts, now alerts and age, skills that can be triggered based on a specific action in the system, such as, see the laptop has been back ordered. I can see that in the system there was an action taken, and then a trigger that can trigger a bot to a specific user saying, okay, this is what is happening in real life. You can take it from there. Now, let's navigate through digital assistant. And what you see here is, this is an instance, a digital assistant instance. And that's the first screen that you will see. You see on the left-hand side, you have home, all the development areas, skills, digital assistants, the channel, and the store. You're going to have also the analytics, and then you have settings, specific settings for your digital assistants. Drilling into digital assistants, I have 2 digital assistants there. And one of the things that you see there at the bottom of the screen are the utterances, which is how the users are going to be interacting with the digital assistant. What is the sentence, right? And you see examples there for, this is a wine skill, which is on top of a digital assistant that allows you to order wine or pizza. And what you see there is ask wine skill to cancel my order, open wine skill, or order wine from wine skill. So these are different things that you are going to be how the digital assistant will be routing to this skill. Okay. Now, there's a component and a context of invocation pattern, how different segments and examples of how you're going to be invoking specific skill. And then on top of that, and this is in the skill, so I just drill down to the skill, we're going to see the intent and the user examples there, right? So specifically in this case, I'm selecting, the intent, right? I'm on intent, and this is, cancel order, okay? So what I'm going to do here is cancel order. So what are the utterances for canceling the order? These are the different examples of utterances for canceling the order. And that what is going to happen is that it's going to give me a percentage of how the digital assistant will understand that, and a percentage of true or false based on the utterances. In this case, for example, ordering a pizza, and we're talking about, again, an entity, an intent of ordering pizza, and the entities are going to be, what are the different entities available for ordering a pizza, which is the pizza crust, the size, and the type, right? But these are the utterances. Now, if we drill down to entity, within the entity, and this is entity, cheese type, right? We're going to have the type of values, a list of values. And if you see something interesting here are the synonyms, because mozzarella, not all of the users are going to be typing exactly what it's spelled like, but we are offering synonyms. So the digital assistant, the skill, can understand what they're asking for, right? Now, also, there are 2 things here on training, how you can train the digital assistant. You can train based out of a linguistic-based model or a machine learning-based model. And that will be driving, these skills then, and how you're going to be later on testing it and see what are the different options that you can have on that. Okay. Now, what are the things and components? Now, for those customers that are running Fusion applications on one side, you can have your digital assistant. Now, with that, you're going to pair your Oracle digital assistant with the skill store. And you can see there all the digital assistant, Fusion applications digital assistant with all the skills that are available. Now, what you're going to do later on and how you interact and you can implement this is for each HCM instance, a new Oracle digital assistant has to be provisioned, right? So it's one-to-one. Now, HCM is the primary identity provider. Oracle Digital Assistant is the secondary identity provider. Then to enable HCM users to log into Oracle Digital Assistant, we need to synchronize the HCM user base across the identity cloud service. And then assign HCM users to a role to enable access to ODA, right? So basically, those are the steps. So authenticate. Once you have that authentication, we're going to be assigning the users the Oracle Digital Assistant roles, and that is what is going to be enabling them to do that. Now, later on, what we're going to do is we're going to set up for Oracle Digital Assistants for HCM. So we have that connection. So we have the digital assistants. So we're going to be setting up the channels, whether it's Oracle Web, right, or channel ID, blah blah blah. Okay, and with that, we're going to be connecting and plugging in. There is a a digital assistant or a chatbot that pops up in Fusion applications. Now, you do import roles, you set the provide options, and they configure the bubble. The bubble is what you see, now, how to continue and then try it out, right? Now, how you can do and extend. One of the things that you can do is extend the skills, the existing skills. So you can extend and create and modify or disable intents, entities, utterances. And you can also work custom components. You may need to have like an extra subscription if you want to extend that with multiple data. Now, channels, I mentioned about channels, users, agent, integration, system, and applications. And in terms of specifically in channels, there is a on the digital assistant, there's a channel option there that you can do. That's a test that I did specifically for connecting to Facebook Messenger, and that was a proof of concept that I was doing for one of our customers. Now, as I mentioned, the webhook. Then there's another functionality which is pretty cool, which is a Q&A. This Q&A allows you to import with a CSV file, okay? And that CSV file has the questions and the answers. Now, natural language processing and the machine learning and artificial intelligence inside digital assistants are going to help to match the questions with the answers, okay? It's going to do that matching. And that was really helpful during COVID times for Q&A, being able to create a digital assistant, a Q&A digital assistant with just pulling in data in a Q&A format, the CSV format. What is the service component? And when we're talking about tailoring and we're talking about connecting to your own system, it's SkillBot with Node.js and the service development kit on that to do get and post from any component, and then have a context, and then being able to get from that. There's an important aspect of analytics and which channel is being used most. Are we doing everything through Facebook Messenger, SMS? How my users are using my digital assistants? Where are the use cases most popular? Do my end users use multi-channel? Okay, like time or preference when they use channels, so I can tailor that and I can be more precise on that. Things like trends, summary, all the conversations, and talking about the completion rate, how many errors, how many unresolved intents we have, what's the performance history. Again, all that is critical and very important for you to later on evolve with digital assistants. Now, just to wrap up this session, what are the key learnings? And when I mentioned, that you have the ability to be modular, you can start narrow but deep. You need to be ambitious in that. When talking about narrow is, okay, I'm going to get it specifically to one sector, one area, inventory, HR. Narrow, but going deep. I mean, all the way. So getting absences, getting, learning, getting all the different aspects that are on that specific area that I want to build. Listen to users, understand your users, test with your users, be iterative. This is not one way. It's different than how we build software on screens or systems. You can be interactive on this and iterative, being able to test and continue test. And one of the things with digital assistants is when you build and deploy digital assistant, this is just the beginning of the journey. This is going to be a continuous journey. Once you start with this, you're going to see that all the users will like to get more and more. There's some things such as giving a name to their digital assistant, being sometimes, some people may have like sarcasm or jokes, giving personality to your digital assistant. Now, why Oracle Digital Assistants? And there's some other products in the market. Why Oracle Digital Assistants? Well, mobile is the primary channel and provides multiple channel communication, customer interactions from voice to chat. We see that a lot. Social network and messaging platform are the key, and that is, again, building a mobile app is something that why building that if we can do that through other channels. And of course, Oracle is they just released a new version a few weeks back, very innovative, artificial intelligence and machine learning, working a lot with that. So there's more information. There's a few links that are going to be available here. You can go there, see a couple of YouTube videos. I'm happy to connect with you on email, my social media. And again, thank you to the user group, Francisco, for giving us the opportunity to speak on the Asia Pacific Oracle user community, all the user group leaders that are part of this community. Thank you for your support to the community, and I look forward to see you soon in person next year. Be safe. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
CloudDB, shaping your new normal.